Welcome, this is Shree Learning Academy and today we are diving into hardware vulnerabilities. For anyone interested in personalized training, reach out on WhatsApp. Let's get into it. When we talk about cybersecurity, most people think about software like viruses, malware, or someone hacking into a computer by breaking a password. And yes, those are important. But there's another layer of security that often gets overlooked. It's the physical stuff. The actual devices, the hardware that we use every day. Phones, laptops, routers, servers, and even smart appliances. These can all have their own kind of vulnerabilities. Today, let's explore three of the big ones: firmware issues, end-of-life hardware, and legacy systems. Let's start with firmware. So what exactly is firmware? Think of it like this. When you press the power button on your computer, something has to tell it what to do first before Windows or Mac OS or any other system even starts. That's firmware. It's kind of like the middleman between the physical hardware and the software. It tells your device how to work, and because it sits right in that middle layer, it's super important. If someone can control of the firmware, they can control the whole system without you even knowing it. Imagine your home router, the box that gives you internet. It has firmware too. If that firmware has a security hole, a hacker could sneak in and change how your internet traffic is handled. They might redirect you to fake websites, steal your information, or use your connection to attack other people. And because firmware doesn't get updated as often as apps or operating system, those holes might stay open for a long time. Here's a real-life example. In 2018, security researchers discovered a major flaw in Intel processors. It was called Meltdown and Spectre. These were hardware vulnerabilities, not just software bugs. They affected millions of devices, laptops, desktops, and even cloud servers. These flaws allowed hackers to bypass the traditional security walls and read data directly from memory, things like password, personal files, and more. The scary part? These vulnerabilities came from the very design of the processor chips. They had been there for over a decade before anyone noticed. Fixing them wasn't easy. It required both software patches and in some cases changes to how operating system interacted with the hardware. It also caused some performance drops for certain tasks. This wasn't just a software problem, it was deep physical issue that affected hardware at the core level. That's how serious firmware or processor level vulnerabilities can be. And the worst part is, you can't just open your laptop and fix the chip. It's built in, which is why updates, when they are available, are so important. That leads us right into the second point, end-of-life hardware. This doesn't mean the device stops working completely. It just means the company that made it has officially stopped supporting it. No more updates, no more fixes, no more help. It's a bit like when a car manufacturer stops making parts for an older model. They might say, sorry, we don't support that anymore. That's end of life or EOL. The danger with EOL hardware is that even if a new security problem is found, it won't be patched. The company has moved on. It might be focusing on newer products or just no longer in business. But you, the user, might still be using that old router, that printer, or that server. And now, it's a sitting duck. If a hacker finds a weakness in it, they know that weakness is going to stay there forever. Think about an old smartphone. Maybe it's 4 or 5 years old. It still turns on. It still works fine for text and call, but the manufacturer stopped updating it 2 years ago. That means any new security problems that get discovered, things that weren't known when the phone was released, are never going to be fixed. You are walking around with a device that could be vulnerable and you may not even realize it. And here's another example in 2020. Researchers found a set of critical vulnerabilities in baseband processors, which are hardware chips inside smartphones that handle communication with mobile network. These chips came from manufacturers like Qualcomm and MediaTek and are found in millions of Android devices. The vulnerability called Achilles allowed attackers to send specially crafted radio signals that could take control of the baseband processor remotely without the user clicking anything. That means someone could potentially spy on your calls, track your location, or inject malware onto your device just through a wireless signal. What's even more worrying is that the baseband firmware is rarely updated directly by the users and many older phones, especially budget models, never received patches. So once again, we had a hardware level threat affecting a massive number of devices with limited options for users to defend themselves. This shows us that even modern devices, if not maintained or patched, can become just as risky as the old ones. And when support for that hardware ends, those devices instantly become part of what we call legacy systems. Legacies is just a fancy word for old systems that are still being used. These systems might still be important and they might still work. They might be running on machines in factories or powering ATMs or managing traffic lights, but they were built a long time ago with older technology and maybe even with different priorities in mind like speed or convenience, not security. Legacy systems can be hard to replace. Maybe they control something very specific, or the people who originally built them aren't around anymore, or upgrading would cost too much. So instead of replacing them, people just keep them running, patching things here and there, hoping for the best. But as the time goes on, the gap between the old technology and modern threats keeps growing. Here's a good example. A few years ago, a major hospital system was hit by a ransomware attack. It turned out that some of the critical machines were still running on Windows 7, which at the time was either just about to lose support or already had. Because of that, the attackers were able to exploit a known vulnerability and take control of the system. Doctors couldn't access patient records. Appointments had to be cancelled. It was chaos. All because the hardware and the software on it hadn't been updated. So let's pause for a second and look at the bigger picture. Firmware vulnerabilities, end-of-life issues, and legacy systems are all tied together by one common thread: age. As technology gets older, it becomes more vulnerable. The world changes, new types of attacks come out, and older systems just weren't designed to deal with those threats. It's a bit like using an old lock on a door. That lock might have worked fine 20 years ago, but if thieves have figured out how to pick it in 2 seconds flat, then it's not really protecting you anymore. You need to upgrade it. Same with the tech. So what can we do about it? First, always keep an eye out for firmware updates. Even though they are less common, they do come out, especially if the manufacturer is still supporting the device. Set reminders to check for them once in a while. And when you buy new devices, look for ones from companies that have a good track record of offering long-term support. Second, be aware of the end-of-life announcement. If you hear that your device or system is reaching the end of its supported life, start planning early. Don't wait until there's a crisis. Look at your options. Can you replace it? Upgrade it? Move to a more modern system. And third, when it becomes to legacy hardware, sometimes it's really is unavoidable. Maybe you are running equipment that just can't be upgraded yet. In those cases, do everything you can do to protect it. Isolate it from the internet. Add extra layers of protection around it, like firewalls or intrusion detection system. And if possible, work with security experts who understand how to deal with older technology. To wrap this all up, remember, just because something still works doesn't mean it's still safe. Hardware vulnerabilities might not be as flashy as hacking passwords or breaking into apps, but they are just as dangerous, maybe even more, because they are harder to detect and harder to fix. Staying safe means being aware of what you are using, how old it is, and whether it's still being supported. It's about planning ahead, being cautious, and not ignoring those quiet warnings that say it's time for an upgrade. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you are looking for more personalized training, contact us on WhatsApp. We offer a range of theoretical and practical courses starting at just $99. You can also find a written explanation and a quiz on our website, link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe for more useful videos and feel free to ask any questions in the comments. We are here to help. See you in the next one.